You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. I'm talking about the end of everything as we know it. No more birds, no more trees, and perhaps most problematically of all, no more people. You have to put an end to her. Don't linger on the specifics. You have a job to do here. Just get in there and do what needs to be done. We're all counting on you. Look, you're already on the path that leads to the cabin. Why would you be here if it weren't to complete a very important task? You've made it this far, you might as well reach the end of your journey. While I appreciate the mental exercise, we are running up against a bit of a ticking clock. Nevertheless, let me assure you, the princess is locked up because she's dangerous. She is not dangerous because she's locked up. And before you decide to waste even more of our time by asking how I know that, let me suggest a more pragmatic lens through which to view this situation. Causality doesn't matter here, because the end result is the same no matter what led us up to this point. If the princess leaves the cabin, the world will end, and there is no changing that. It's no use arguing semantics over a metaphorical chicken or egg, because the egg is hatched and it's about to ruin everything. Unless, of course, you do your job and slay her. Does it? Are you a monarchist? Is slaying a princess that much worse than slaying a fisherman or a miller or a seamstress? If anything, slaying a princess is much better than slaying a seamstress. Seamstresses contribute something of value to society. Oh, if only that were the case, but I don't make the rules. I have to say I'm surprised at your reluctance thus far, but unfortunately for the both of us, you're the only one who can pull this off. Like I said, I don't make the rules, no matter how much I wish I did. Of course I haven't. Why would I even consider that? Nobody wants the world to end. I mean, maybe some people do, like nihilists, or very, very evil people, but surely you're not one of those, right? Yes, but you'll have to slay her before you get it. It's a secret, but I think you'll like it. It's a special reward, just for you. And whatever you think it might be, I can promise you it's going to be even better than your wildest imagination. You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within. A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says. We're not going to go through with this, right? She's a princess. We're supposed to save princesses, not slay them. Ignore him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. You take the blade from the table. It'd be rather difficult to slay the princess and save the world without it. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice carries up the stairs.
Who's there?
She sounds dangerous. It's almost as if she's the one in charge down here.
Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation. Good. You're still listening to reason. You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement.
She's so coldly beautiful. Is she really a threat to the world?
Focus on the task at hand.
And there you are. Are you here to kill me or something? How about you drop the knife and the two of us just talk?
Look how reasonable she's being. We should just drop the blade and talk things out. Don't you dare. It's fine. We can decide what we want to do after we talk to her. Maybe she really is a monster. Killing someone in cold blood isn't very becoming of us. You ignore the trembling in your hands and tighten your grip on the blade.
You poor thing. Your hands are shaking. Are you scared of me? Because you should be.
You step forward, your grip on the blade tightening as you steel your resolve.
I'm probably chained up in this basement for a reason, right? And if that knife is the only weapon you have, you'll have to get close enough to use it. So, you should just drop it. Best not to risk finding out what I can do.
She's unarmed. If you hesitate now, it'll be too late. End this. You go into this expecting to die, you're going to die.
Hesitating? Why don't you drop the knife and the two of us can be civilized with each other?
You charge the princess, blade trembling in your hand, but you've already lost the battle. She casually sidesteps your thrust before knocking you to the ground with a single blow from her elbow.
We shouldn't have hesitated.
But she doesn't stop there. She kicks you a few times for good measure, the pointed tip of her shoes feeling like a pickaxe against your fracturing bones, making sure you stay down. As you lie, crushed and broken on the basement floor, the princess kneels on your throat with the kind of weight you didn't think her slight frame could possibly possess. As you gasp for air, she eyes you with an intense curiosity. You shouldn't have let that fear creep into your heart. You had the upper hand, and now look at you.
Is this really the best you could do? Look at you. Completely broken. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little disappointed.
She applies more pressure, slowly squeezing what's left of your life out of your lungs. This is the end, isn't it? I'm afraid it is. Everything goes dark, and you die. You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. I can assure you that you're not dead. And to answer your second question, You're here to slay the princess. I literally told you that a second ago. If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe it's best to keep it that way. You know I can hear you, right? It's going to be a lot harder than you think to keep secrets from me. What does it matter what he knows? There's nothing we can do to stop her. She's just going to kill us again. She is not going to kill you unless you let her, but slaying the princess and saving the world is going to be much more difficult than it has to be if you spend the whole time second-guessing yourself. Those are two very different questions, but fine, I'll indulge you if that's what it takes to get you moving. Let's say for a moment that this really is the second time you've met me, or at least a version of me. You died last time, which probably only happened because you didn't listen to me. Of course we died. We couldn't land a single blow on her, and she broke every bone in our body before she decided to let us die. What were we supposed to do to stop her then? What are we supposed to do to stop her now? It's pointless. She's just a princess. Slaying her shouldn't have been difficult, but congratulations. You've been given another chance to actually do this right. And I believe your other question was something along the lines of, oh, what's the point of doing anything? If you're asking that, it sounds to me like you're making the rather dangerous assumption that your actions last time around didn't have any consequences. What do you mean? Of course there weren't any consequences. The princess killed us and now everyone's right back where they started. That sounds pretty consequence-free to me. Yes, but in this purely hypothetical scenario, that begs the question of how you got back here. Did time simply rewind itself, or were you instead transported to a different world entirely? If it's the latter, what do you think happened after you died? Do you think the people there lived happily ever after? Or do you think that the princess, left unhindered, brought about the end to everyone and everything, just like I told you she would? If she ended the entire world, why should we even bother? We might as well just walk up to that cabin, break her chains and let her do whatever she wants. It's all the same in the end. Just because she's capable of ending the world doesn't mean you're not capable of slaying her. Both of those things can be true at the same time. So chin up. I believe in you. Just be quick about it. She just can. Believe me, I wish I could tell you more, but you'll just have to trust that what I'm saying is true, and that, despite it all, you're fully up to the task that's been given to you. We're not. We might as well just pledge ourselves to her and stop pretending that we're capable of doing anything in this situation. She probably doesn't even need to try to overpower us. Can we tone down the pessimism just a smidge? I'm not being a pessimist. I'm just being realistic. You're being annoying. Just ignore their bickering, and whatever you do, don't pledge yourself to her. I cannot stress enough how absolutely catastrophic that would be for everyone, yourself included. People locked her in that basement, and I told you what this place is. It's a path in the woods. Don't overcomplicate things. I've told you everything you need to know. Going into more detail would just overcomplicate an otherwise very simple situation and make your job more difficult. The less you know about her, the better. Look, I'm not supposed to say this, but it's because you're special. You're the only person capable of doing this. Call it a prophecy, if that helps, but It's just the way things are. Oh, I didn't know we were special. Of course you're special. Why else would you be here? Who cares if you think we're special? As far as I can tell, the only thing special about us is that we get to experience painfully dying all over again. Like I said, if she killed you, it was probably because you didn't listen to me. Don't talk to her, don't trust her, just go in, do your job, and save the world. Great. Now, if you don't mind, the whole world is waiting with bated breath for you to save it from ruin. A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in lying? Cheating? Why would she even bother? She didn't need to do anything like that last time. She caught us off guard last time. We'll be fine. Let's just keep our wits about us. At least one of you still has a shred of sense. Just make sure you listen to him and not that whiner. If that's what you want, I guess I don't have a say here. The interior of the cabin is larger and more grandiose than its humble exterior would suggest. The only furniture of note is a massive marble altar with a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. Why do we feel so small? We don't feel small. We are small. You walk up to the wall next to the basement door. It's a wall. There isn't much to see here. What are you talking about? This isn't a wall. It's a mirror. Or at least it'll be a mirror once we wipe off that layer of grime. You reach forward and rub your hand against the cabin wall. I hope you know how ridiculous you look right now. We should count ourselves lucky. Some things are better left unseen. Maybe that's because you haven't actually been here. I hope this means you'll finally drop that ridiculous past life nonsense. You haven't died, and you certainly haven't been killed by the princess. You take the blade from the altar. It would be difficult to slay the princess and save the world without a weapon. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a spiral staircase. Its steps almost as deep as you are tall. The smell of incense drifts up from below. For a moment, you almost feel at ease. This is actually kind of nice. It's still a stone basement. If the princess lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her booming voice rolls up the stairs.
Is that a guest I hear? Don't linger on the stairs. Come down and witness me.
You weren't kidding when you said it was booming. She wasn't like this last time. We need to get down there. She wants us to see her. We need to see her. Should we be worried about your sudden change in attitude? Just a few minutes ago you were going on about how pointless everything was. Now you want to go down there. It doesn't matter what that little voice says. He's not the one making the decisions. Though if his ramblings get you to the princess, they get you to the princess. Making your way down the spiral staircase is a time-consuming and exhausting effort, every step requiring you to clamber over one edge before dropping to the next. But soon the end comes into view, and you tumble to the bottom, entering the vast, temple-like room beyond. The princess towers over you, almost glowing in the weak starlight, her figure framed by a stained glass window. Her long hair billows around her, and a chain binds her wrist to the far wall. The chain is nothing to her. It might as well be a toy for all the good it would do. I told you it was pointless to resist her.
The little bird has returned to me. I wonder what he wants. You've brought that knife again, even though you know it's useless. Such charming audacity. Drop it.
As if on command, the blade slips from your grasp. It clatters uselessly to the floor. But we didn't drop it. We decided to grip it tighter, remember? Are you really just going to let that happen to us? I have a duty to report facts as facts, and the fact is that you dropped the blade. Of course we dropped it. She's so much more than us. You wouldn't understand what it feels like to be in her presence. Oh, I understand what's going on, and you'd better snap yourself out of it.
Kneel. Oh, are you still trying to defy me? I said kneel.
Your legs buckle, and your knees hit the floor.
That's my good little bird. Now, why don't we talk? The last time we met, you couldn't even scratch me. And yet here you are again, trying to succeed where you've already catastrophically failed. What draws you back here beyond the empty halls of death? Speak.
The last time we met? I suppose that lends credence to our conversation in the woods. Still, whatever you do, don't tell her why you're here. It's best not to give her any ideas.
Do you think holding shut your beak is enough to stop me from prying it open? Do you think your skull can save your thoughts from being seen? You're less broken than I thought. Perhaps you need another lesson in submitting to your betters. Pick up that needle.
Do it. It's what she wants. No objections here. I don't know what she's planning, and I don't like that we don't know what she's planning, but we might as well pick up the blade. As your eye falls on the blade, you feel a weight. Some divine hand that sits unperceived by your senses, but that manages to push you towards its desires like an unseen puppeteer. You reach forward and grasp the blade.
Stand!
This one's easy. See? This isn't so bad. Okay, yeah. We can do that. We were probably going to stand anyway. You can feel a creaking tension between body and will as you slowly rise to your feet, like two foes forced into an unhappy truce. The princess eyes you with soft contemplation. The moment seems to last a lifetime, the silent anticipation of what's to come dragging out the long, painful seconds. But all silences are broken eventually.
To defy me is to claim we stand on level ground. We do not. You are quiet shadow, while I am brilliant radiance. Take that knife in your hand and slit your throat.
What? You don't have to listen to her. You're armed. Just steel your nerves, step forward, and end this. Oh, we'll end this all right. Your hand lifts the blade and brings it towards your throat. Okay, I apologize for the unclear language. End her. Your body is sluggish and unresponsive, actively fighting against you, but you do your best to stagger forward. One step at a time, you move towards the princess.
Slitting your throat would have been a mercy, but it seems you're in need of a harsher lesson. Plunge that knife into your lungs.
I'm sorry.
Don't! As you take another step forward, the blade digs into your ribs, slicing through flesh with ease. It somehow feels like an entirely natural thing to do, while the simple act of walking has become an arduous impossibility. Then it slides back out, the wound burning as a small hiss of air escapes through the fresh orifice. Blood fills your lungs.
Now, do it again. Keep doing it until I give you permission to stop.
Those are just words. You don't have to listen to her.
It's what she wants.
You, heroic one, what are you doing? Don't just let this happen. Stop him from killing you. I'm on it. Your other hand locks around your wrist, struggling to keep it from perforating vital organs. The blade still flails towards you, managing to slice bits of skin that plop to the floor to join the growing pile of blood and gore beneath you. Despite the pain, you manage to keep yourself in one piece, at least for now.
What a pitiful display. A wounded little bird, thinking it can defy a god. It doesn't have to be like this. It doesn't have to hurt so much. You can choose a gentle end. You can choose to leave that punctured vessel for the next. Or you can pathetically struggle against yourself until the floor of this temple is painted with the bloody impressions of your futility.
Continue to approach the princess, even as the repeated gouges of your blade expose bone and muscle to the open air of the basement. You know, this would be a lot easier if you gave us a hand. My influence only goes so far, and I can only juggle so many things at once. The best I can do right now is to continue to drive you forward. Believe me, this whole ordeal would be so much easier if I didn't have to contend with free will.
You're the one making things difficult. You're the one making us hurt. She doesn't want to hurt us. She's just doing what she has to.
Stop.
As you finish crossing the room, you fall to your knees at the princess's feet, your chest heaving as your blood pools in the crevices of the stone floor, the coppery taste coating your throat. The princess kneels down, lifting your chin with her finger as her face lowers to yours.
Your devotion is misplaced. You've surrendered to delusion. But something about your defiant spirit speaks to me. You are different than you were before. Perhaps, if you've learned your lesson, I can spare you from the release of death. There's a place at my side for you, if you'll have it. Not as an equal, but as something worthy to be kept. A priest, perhaps, or a pet.
Well, that's the meaning, isn't it? Yes, how thoughtful of her. It's a mercy. Take it. I think he's given up whatever say he had at the start of all this. At least one of you is sane. She's within striking distance, and she's only negotiating now because she knows you have what it takes to put an end to her. Seize the moment before it's too late.
No!
Yes. Though your body trembles, struggling to defend itself in the face of the princess's overwhelming will, you finally manage to break through, darting to her side before she can react. The wind of your freedom rushes through you, and you channel it into a decisive blow, stabbing into the soft flesh of her ankle and severing the tendons in an act of unyielding defiance. She falls to the floor, crashing unceremoniously to her knees. But you don't give her any time to recover. Your heart pounding with determination, you plunge your blade into her chest. As you find your target again and again, she laughs, crude emotion breaking through her once stony composure as your blade cuts her flesh. We can do this, can't we? You always could. The decision to give you this task was not made lightly. You're here for a reason.
It's not too late to pick up the pieces. It's not too late to toss that blade aside and beg for forgiveness.
Shut up.
I can't believe you would actually strike me. You heathen! You worm! You defiler! You don't know the consequences of your arrogance!
Before you can strike the final blow, the princess lashes out, knocking you off your feet. There's an unsettling wet pop as your spine breaks, numbness and pain spreading through your body. As you rebound towards the ceiling in a moment of disorientated lightness, she drives her fist into your chest. Your body is crushed as she pulverizes you into the floor, the ground itself breaking from the impact. You lie there, broken, beyond pain, unable to even see what she's done to you. But the princess is succumbing to her own wounds as well. She looks down upon her body in abject horror and disgust.
You made me use my hands. I can feel myself twisting into something new, something dull, something defiled. What have you done to me?
You're monsters and conspirators. I can't bear to watch this.
The princess has been nothing but cruel to you. You should feel liberated by her fall.
But I don't feel liberated. I feel empty.
Aside from the pain, I feel fine. She collapses to the floor. Her glassy eyes watch, unblinking, yet somehow still full of anguish and fear, as the two of you perish together. I suppose we were never going to get a happy ending here, were we? Don't let those be your final thoughts. You saved the world. That's worth something. I guess. Regardless of how you feel about it, it's finally over. Thank you. Everything goes dark, and you die. You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of the path... Okay, what the hell is that? I think he's upset. And what's he got to be upset about? We just killed a god!
Exactly. You heathens destroyed the most beautiful thing that ever was, and ever will be.
You're damn right we did. And you'll get over it. Can't say I have much sympathy for you. She was bad for us, and you almost got us killed. You're being too generous. He did get us killed. Alright, enough chatter. I've got a thing I'm supposed to do, and if you don't mind, I'd like to do it without any more interruptions. Okay, great, you're listening. You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a... If your thing is telling us about the princess, don't waste your breath. We know all about her, and it's hardly a path in the woods at this point, is it? But this is just great. Let me cut to the chase. Clearly you've already been here. Yeah, you think?
Actually, I don't think we have been here. This is all different, isn't it?
Yes, precisely. And if you'd given me 2 seconds to finish my thought, I would have said that. Oh, you're actually letting me talk now. Great. If you've already been here, it means you've seen things you aren't supposed to have seen, and you know things that you aren't supposed to know. this doesn't look like a path in the woods, if reality seems distorted, it's because reality is distorted. So you knew this could happen. You knew we'd be able to restart like this. I know all sorts of things, which is why you should listen to me. That's not really an answer. Look, if the world around you is changing, especially all the way out here, then that means you're nearing the point of no return. Whatever happens next, that's it. There won't be any more do-overs. So you'd better take things seriously. Don't worry. We only need this one last go at things. You'd better hope that's true. And don't let that inflated ego get in the way of doing your job.
If there's still a princess at the cabin, maybe we can salvage things. Maybe if we just grovel and apologize, things can go back to how they were before.
Oh, cut it out, will you? We need to be tough right now. You're making it so much harder than it has to be, so stop whining. Can't. Anything I say at this point is far more likely to accelerate the unraveling of this place than it is to actually help you do your job. In fact, I probably shouldn't have even said that. I trust that if you've been here before, it means you know how dangerous she is, and that you know I'm not lying to you about her. Really? That's it? That's all we're getting out of you?
He just wants to keep things going the way they are. But we've been given a second chance to do right by her. She can build something better than this. She can build something better than us. We just have to let her do it.
I get it. You're conflicted. You've been through a lot, but I really have to be firm here. I will tell you one thing, which is that even now you are capable of stopping her and saving the world from ruin. You always have been, and you always will be. Do with that what you will.
So what if I'm speaking my mind? It's not like I've ever really got to say anything.
What a crock of shit. Yeah, you stabbed us last time, repeatedly.
It didn't even work. It doesn't count.
We died! If you didn't submit to her, for all we know, that wouldn't have happened.
It's the punishment you all deserved for not listening to me. To her.
Aside from our sulking friend, I don't think we have much to worry about. You're still the one in charge here, and I don't think that's ever going to change. Second he tries something, I'll put a stop to it. Then what happens? Have you even been listening? It's the end is what happens. Yeah, but is there something after the end? How am I supposed to know? The end means finality. It's not like I can just peek on over to the other side and tell you what it's like there, if there even is a there. It doesn't matter because we're going to win. Now that's exactly the sort of mindset I like to see. Don't let yourself be consumed with self-doubt. Don't flirt with oblivion. Just focus on the present and everything will be absolutely fine. Good, we're all on the same page. It isn't long before you find yourself at the end of the path, staring up at the cabin on the hill. You'll find the princess within, as I'm sure you already know. End her. That's it? No final words of advice? I'd rather not waste any more time. I'm sure that any advice I'd give at this point is something you've already heard. That's fine by me. Let's get moving. I'm itching for a rematch. The interior of the cabin is a place that feels long forgotten. There was once an elegance to its construction, carved marble columns holding a high arched roof, vaulted windows letting in the weak starlight. But that is how it was. Now there is a growth that has overtaken it. A viscous fluid seeps from cracks in the stone walls, and it congeals into chaotic streaks of writhing nerves and wet clumps of living meat. That's horrible. You did this. The only furniture of note is a pulsating pedestal, a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. A mirror? There is no mirror. There's the pedestal, the blade sitting on the pedestal, and the door to the basement. Just to tell us where the door is. I'd like to get back to fighting, and if you want us to kill her so bad, I'm sure you feel the same. No more messing around. I don't know what to tell you. There isn't a mirror because I would know if there was a mirror. You're either seeing things or you're confused on the definitions of door and mirror. Or you're seeing things. That seems far more likely. What are you trying to say exactly?
He thinks we've lost it. That we're succumbing to madness, that something in us is broken.
That's an unnecessarily melodramatic way to describe a hallucination, but sure. I'm not going to waste time arguing with any of you. It went away after we touched it last time. Let's just do it again. You take the blade from the pedestal. It would be difficult to slay the princess and save the world without a weapon. Good. Nothing feels better than gripping cold steel. You step forward and approach the door to the basement, hesitating before you open it. As if you don't see it. You really don't, do you? How strange. It really is just like last time. Are we really hallucinating? Why here? Why now?
Smash it. Smash it to pieces. It's the only thing keeping us from her.
Don't you want to know what we'll see? We won't be able to see anything if we smash it.
Smash it. Let's get violent.
Do whatever you want with it. The mirror isn't real, so how you handle it doesn't matter, aside from wasting dangerous amounts of time. You reach forward and drag your hand across the door leading to the basement. As if on command, it slowly slides open, scraping against the stone floor, its ancient hinges moaning as it reveals the dim path ahead. Why am I not surprised? You step forward into the darkness. The stairs leading down to the basement are at once both narrow and grandiose. A high vaulted ceiling stretches up into a gloom beyond your sight, while walls wet with tumorous growths press in uncomfortably at your sides. You feel both unprotected and trapped, at once exposed and claustrophobic. The air is thick, its odour an oppressive violence, the metallic scent of fresh blood twisting with the nauseating embers of charred remains. If the princess lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favour. Her voice, a bellowing rage, roars up the stairs.
Was severing the tendons of my ascension not enough for you? Was it not enough to rend my divine heart? Come, see the horrors you've wrought upon my flesh, and feel my hands set upon your throat.
Why? Why did you desecrate her? Why couldn't I stop you?
You've got to stop thinking about her like that. It isn't doing anyone any good. She's not some untouchable god. She's an abomination. And we're going to put an end to her once and for all.
It's our fault. If she's an abomination, then what does that make us?
It doesn't matter what we are. She needs slaying, and
we've got the means to do it, so let's get a move on.
If I might interject, you didn't make her into an abomination. She's always been what she is. It's why you're here. It's why your task is so important. You make your way to the bottom of the stairs. The chamber's walls are painted in blood, a deep, sickening red that drips down in clotted streams onto the charred corpses that make up its floor. This place reeks of torment, of ripped skin and burning bone. The princess stands in its centre, muscles flayed and bare and weeping, draped in a tattered dress of her own skin. Her heart beats from its place in her open chest.
Do you know what I'm going to do to you?
There's not so much a moment of hesitation before she steps forward. Her chains pull taut, holding fast as she strains against them. The cuff around her wrist digs deeper into her skin. Blood drips from the place where metal meets flesh. And then, with a nauseating sound, the skin tears. It plops to the ground, and she pulls her red, glistening arm free from her bindings. She is loose, and she is coming for you.
Let her end it. It's the punishment you all deserve for what you did to her. It's the punishment I deserve for letting it happen.
Screw that. We can win. We've done it before, and we'll do it again, only this time we'll make it out the other side. Hell, she's practically done most of the work for us. Your heart full of fear, you charge towards the princess, your eyes locked on each other, both of you prepared to lay down your very essence in one blow.
It's now or never. Let's make it a beautiful blaze of glory.
Horrifying squelch. You are unwound.
I hope you weren't planning on dying. We're going to make this last forever. Huh. I feel cold. I've never felt cold before.
She's gone. Where did she go? Should we try and find her? And there's that mirror again. Why is it here? Why now? It is. Does that mean the world ended?
The world didn't end. We're still here. Come on. We just need to keep going.
Figures the world would end and leave us with all this nothing. All right. She's gone. It's just us and that awful thing.
It's like it's mocking us.
I feel anxious. Does anyone else feel anxious? There's something dreadful about it. I don't think you should.
Screw the mirror. We just need to find the princess. I don't want to look at us.
I'm begging you, don't do this. It's different now. It feels, I don't know, final.